Hi, everybody. So it is Sunday morning, and I'm here with criminal defense attorney Andrea Burkhart once again. She's provided a lot of great commentary about the Johnny Depp case and the Marilyn Manson case. And so we're going to talk today, about some of that stuff. I guess basically, Andrea, you told me, and you keep up with this stuff way better than I do. You told me that there was a big document dump basically recently in the Johnny Depp case. So what was that? And what did you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, so a whole bunch of documents were filed that are basically detailing the portions of the depositions that they want to use at trial, and then also starting to get some of their objections and things like that.
Awesome.
So the first thing that we saw was basically confirmation that yes, Amber Heard was indeed ordered to sit for an independent medical examination. And we're also starting to get a little bit of more details fleshed out about exactly why that happened and what the basis for it was, and possibly maybe how it went for her. So
a medical examination? Is that what you said?
Yes. So Virginia has this process where when somebody is claiming a medical or a psychological injury, they have this process where you can have them ordered to sit for independent examination by some expert who will then give an opinion on, is this legit? How bad is it? So on and so forth. And then that can be potentially used as evidence at trial. What we've been able to figure out from these disclosures is that the medical examination was conducted late December of last year by Dr. Shannon Curry, PsyD. And the bottom line about why this happened is because, once again, Amber Heard shot herself in the foot with her counterclaim. I've said this so many times. Here we go again. It appears that Amber Heard is claiming that Johnny Depp gave her PTSD. And we see this in a couple of ways. One, her opposition to his summary judgment, which was recently denied, included a little section about all the damage that she'd suffered and, describing emotional harms and injuries and problems like nightmares. And basically, like, if you looked online and looked at like what are the criteria for PTSD, this is essentially what Amber Heard is claiming that Johnny Depp caused her. We can also see that in some of the exhibits that have been disclosed along with this expert, certain tests and test results are identified. We don't obviously know what the results of those are, but we can draw a few inferences just from seeing, exactly what the tests are. We can infer that it maybe didn't go so well for Amber by a couple of things. Number one, Shannon Curry, PsyD, is on Johnny Depp's witness list. She is very prominently not on Amber Heard's witness list. Instead, Amber Heard has her own, what appears like probably a pair of forensic folks, experts that she'll be bringing in. One is this Dr. Blaustein, who has forensic specialties. He's a MD psychiatrist down in LA. So he could be a clinician, but he does have forensic specialties that he notes on his website. Then the other one is this Amy Banks, MD. She's an MD psychiatrist who writes books about neurobiology and relationships, and this kind of idea that it's related to like bonding and attachments and things like that. And the idea that, relationships are kind of hardwired.
Okay, so you were saying that, and so you think this is not good for Amber because one of her experts is going to be on Johnny Depp's witness list, basically. Is that what you said?
The independent medical examiner is on Johnny Depp's witness list,
okay,
and
gotcha.
is not on her witness list. And so that in and of itself is kind of a tell that more than likely the party who did well out of this examination is going to be the one that wanted to call her. You would assume if she had confirmed a PTSD diagnosis that she would be at the top of Amber Heard's witness list. But there's other clues too, and these are getting into a little bit more of the speculative arena, because we don't know what the full scope of her appointment was, like what exactly is she being asked to analyze here. But one of the tests that she administered is the MMPI-2. And so the MMPI-2 is one that I am very used to seeing in my work. My clients are often evaluated for capacity, for competency to stand trial, for whether they were insane at the time of the events. And the MMPI is a really common one because it gives a very broad view of a person's personality, emotional issues that they may be having, but it also has these pretty well-designed validation scores, essentially, that are built into the test. And so what this is designed to do is allow these different measures of inconsistency or lack of effort, tendency to exaggerate, things along those lines. So the MMPI-2 is something that I commonly see if somebody is, for example, claiming, they're schizophrenic, but they're faking symptoms, and the MMPI will catch that out.
You're saying it's it's basically kind of like it's kind of more subtle, and so it gets at the truth maybe better, or when someone's deceiving or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's got these different ways of kind of catching when people are being inconsistent in reporting their symptoms, or also when what they are reporting is inconsistent with people who have legitimately been diagnosed with these diseases. That's a real common one. Like with somebody fake schizophrenia, they have an idea in their mind of what it's like, but it's not actually what it's like to be in the mind of a schizophrenic. And so they will often, make up these things that bear no relationship to what somebody with a legitimate diagnosis would report in this test. So it's a way to catch people out for that type of thing. If she didn't find that Amber had PTSD, and Amber is coming to trial with, I think we can assume, a diagnosis for PTSD that, some clinician gave her, then I think it's pretty likely that this Dr. Curry may have found that Amber is malingering. And that's like I said, it's a fairly common outcome that I'm kind of used to seeing with the MMPI-2. Malingering.
I like that word. I don't even I should know as a former English professor, I should know, have a good idea of what that word means. And so the moment it's not coming to mind. It just sounds bad. Malingering.
Yeah. So what malingering is feigning symptoms of a, medical or psychiatric disorder for purposes of secondary gain. So you see it all the time in the criminal justice system. Somebody is faking schizophrenia to try to set up an insanity defense. Somebody is faking, other types of conditions for varieties of reasons. It's faking is what it is.
I love it. Malingering.
Yeah. So I definitely think there is a pretty non-zero chance that we may see some conversation about malingering in the upcoming trial.
Well, so what will happen, let's see, if the judge has that attitude toward her, because it's a jury trial, right?
Yes.
So what's, I guess this is my question. Let's say that the judge has a negative perception of Amber, either from this or from, I guess, a multitude of reasons. One thing I wanted to ask you, briefly, and I'm sure if you had something else to talk about, that's great too, but what effect would it have if the judge had a negative view of Amber on this trial? What do you think?
Realistically, it shouldn't have a lot of impact on the trial because it doesn't matter. She can be the nastiest, least likable person on the planet. She's still entitled to a fair trial. The laws still apply to her as equally as they would apply to anybody else. And so we can expect the judge is going to be even-handed about that type of thing. But the issue becomes when there are disputes that maybe come down to a person's credibility, or just a person's goodwill, frankly, like if there's these discovery disputes that, implicate kind of how they are treating each other and how the judge is going to resolve those things, if she
Right.
hasn't gotten a good impression of Amber Heard's goodwill in this proceeding so far, then she's just, less likely to see it under that specific situation.
Right. I totally see what you're saying. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Was there something else you wanted to say though about things that they're not looking good for Amber? It necessarily doesn't sound good.
Well, so that was the IME, and that is, of course, an issue that I have been particularly interested in because I've just been dying to see how these mental health issues are going to flesh out in this case. And so that has really narrowed down what's happened. Again, bottom line, Amber Heard just cannot help absolutely torpedoing her own case with these claims. We can trace it all back to the counterclaim. And, maybe now we know why Robbie Kaplan wanted out exactly when she did.
Do you think that counterclaim was really just across the board a really bad legal move?
It was a terrible legal move. It was an absolutely terrible legal move.
Really?
I mean, in my opinion, yes. Yeah. We've talked a little bit before about just what some of the hurdles are that she has to overcome to even get it, given that these are based on statements by Adam Waldman, and Adam Waldman wasn't there. So even if Adam Waldman believes everything that Johnny Depp said, and even if Johnny Depp was telling him lies, he's entitled to believe that. That doesn't mean that he knows that what he's being told is false. So, and that's again, the standard for actual malice for defamation. So it's such a long shot case anyway. She brought in those ridiculous computer bot claims, based on the Christopher Boozy stuff that was never going to go anywhere. That was what it looked like to me was part of, if not maybe the main rationale behind Roberta Kaplan leaving when she did, because that was right at the time that the press had started to come out about Amber Heard had gotten this expert report that was, analyzing the bots coming after her and stuff. And but apparently had only identified like maybe 13 specific accounts. So just, really not particularly helpful, certainly not on its face, the kind of thing that would support this, broad conspiracy by Adam Waldman and the Russians that she alleged in her counterclaim. So, that type of thing just made her look a little bit ridiculous.
And it gave some nice free publicity to a number of accounts, like that. She probably was that the one where she was complaining about like the umbrella guy and Laura and some of the others. I don't even remember, but it was like that's actually been more recent. Okay, great.
The exact filing was, but she did name a number of accounts in her counterclaim, many of whom have stepped forward on Twitter and say, "Hey, hello,
thanks for the great publicity."
Not a
bot. No, I mean, totally counterproductive stuff. But then
the real bottom line again is we've talked about it before too, how it just opened up the door in discovery to all these things they never would have been able to get into vis-a-vis her reputation, her work history, stuff like that. And now as well, very likely all of this stuff dealing with her mental health is solely because she insisted on claiming that Johnny Depp gave her PTSD. Johnny Depp, she had also asked for him to have to undergo an IME, and it became clear that was denied. It was just a retaliatory thing that she did because she was ordered to do it. But Johnny Depp has never claimed that Amber Heard gave him PTSD. So just by opening that door, she is, again, probably has given him a lot of ammunition that he's going to be able to have fun with at trial.
Is she, do you think she's getting bad legal advice, or you think that she's just running the show and she's just telling them, she's just wanting them to retaliate in any way they can, or what do you think is going on behind the scenes?
Oh, it's a great question. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is Amber driven 100%. And that's why we have seen the lawyer shopping. Roberta Kaplan gets this report that says maybe there's 13 bots. She's like, I don't think I want to file this counterclaim, dealing with this bullshit. So Amber Heard goes and finds a lawyer who will do that. And so, yes, I think that is likely, the nature of the relationship between Amber and Elaine. Amber is calling the shots. I would like to think she's requesting advice and counsel from her attorney, but she may not be. And in any event, I would be very doubtful that she's actually listening to it if she gets it.
Do you see any, and I don't know if we can cut this part if you don't have anything to say, but do you see any, given what her personality is and given what she's done already, do you see any particular up ahead in this trial, any particular points of concern for someone like her, of her temperament? Like, are there any ways that you can foresee this thing really going off the rails if she is steering the train or whatever?
I mean, it's really hard to say. You know, it's such a balance between, she appears to have some serious anger issues and impulse control issues, but at the same time, she has this massive need to keep up this facade of, you know, successful victim Amber. Yeah. And so how those things are going to balance out when it comes to trial, who knows? You know, I very much expect that when she testifies, we're probably going to see a lot of the type of thing that we saw during her first deposition way back in 2016, with the sneering and the smirking and the eye rolling.
Wow.
But we'll see. You know, she's gone through that enough times by now that maybe she'll have figured out, you know, how to burst into tears when she gets challenged by Johnny's lawyer.
It's going to be fascinating to see. You know, this very well may be. I was thinking about this after the Oscars, the night of the Oscars, because I normally will make myself watch the Oscars, even though I really hate those shows, but I'll make myself watch it because there's like, you know, there's going to be some kind of must-see TV or something that someone's going to be talking about the next day. And so it's like, okay, like it's going to be like boring and pretentious, but I'll watch it. Well, this time I didn't watch it. I finally like had enough. I'm just like, I'm not going to watch the Oscars.
Yeah.
And anyway, of course, what ended up happening is, you know, this crazy thing that I couldn't even believe it when someone told me what had happened with Will Smith. So anyway, my point being that we're going into a situation here where with all of the history involved and the volatility and Amber Heard and that entire like show that she brings with her, and there's got to be something at some point, I guess what I'm saying, that happens in this trial that's just going to be like, right?
Yeah.